Another marquee quarterback goes down in the NFL, this time Ben Roethlisberger from Pittsburgh, and they have a Thursday night game at home against Baltimore Ravens, and we are going to talk with the best in the business, Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, to try to make heads or tails of this line. My name's Peter Loshak, and you're watching SBR Videos. All right, Joe Duffy, here we go again. All the marquee quarterbacks in the NFL going down except Tom Brady. Brady's the only one who's hanging tough, and Aaron Rodgers, of course. The Baltimore Ravens 0-3 straight up and against the spread, and on a short week, they're a road favorite over Pittsburgh. So the market obviously thinks this is a huge, huge deal. Baltimore, of course, having all kinds of problems, right? The secondary not getting it done, Flacco inconsistent, the ground game isn't productive at all. In Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell is back, and the defense looks like it's showing some signs that it might be improving. Is this an overreaction, and if so, how much?
Well, it's very interesting you would ask that, Mr. Loshak, because I know a journeyman handicapper, one of the very few theories that he's espoused that I found is pretty true, is when he says you got to listen to what the oddsmakers are telling you, there's got to be a reason. So I tested it. Right. As applied to this game. And as you mentioned, this is a very rare situation where you have a team that is off of consecutive losses as a favorite, now a road favorite. And since 2005, that has applied only 16 times, and it's 10-5-1. And I believe I did look up exactly what you said as far as a team being winless and a road favorite with at least 3 losses. And I believe it was 3-1 teams were under those circumstances. Now, of course, you're going to point out the big story here is Ben Roethlisberger is hurt, but there's always going to be extenuating circumstances. So, as I said, those angles do measure whether or not there is a market overreaction. Still, at the end of the day, not statistically significant enough to bet it just on that, but it is a big drop-off. Benji was having a great year, completed 75% of his passes, and his 95.7 total QBR was the highest in the NFL. I even heard Rodney Harrison say last night on NBC the Steelers will win 0 games as long as Ben Roethlisberger's out. That's a pretty strong statement because the cupboard's not bare. The Steelers do get Le'Veon Bell back, but at the end of the day, it is just too big of a loss to overcome, and whether the odds makers have compensated enough, I don't think so.
I mean, long term, obviously, it would be a disaster to lose Roethlisberger, but in the short term, is Vic really that bad? Is a drop-off that huge?
Well, I know I've said, and this applies a lot more in the NBA or college basketball, where teams will rally around a fallen star. Not so much in the NFL, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, because, that's very tough. But, yeah, in the case of Vic, I don't think that he's quite as bad as some of the other backup quarterbacks like a Jay Clausen or that pig in Dallas from Cleveland, who was one of the worst starting quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life, Brandon Weeden. Vic is at least, an experienced guy who has a lot of wins under his belt. Still, he's an aging star. Again, maybe not quite as big of a drop-off as some of the other ones, but he can throw downfield, and it really takes the skills of Antonio Brown. I think they're going to have to maybe throw perhaps a bubble screen or a slant pass to get the ball to Antonio Brown in space, and that's going to take some creativity, and arguably on a short week, it's going to hurt them more. But then again, conversely, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Baltimore's off of a tougher loss, a very tough loss against Cincinnati, and one might say that, the emotional drain of the Sunday loss, maybe the short week could hurt them. But I still think, all in all, the short week's going to hurt Pittsburgh a little bit more because they got to find creative ways to get the ball to Antonio Brown.
I think that too. I mean, sometimes when you have, a professional team that's just been losing, they're 0-3 like the Ravens are, they can come back on a short week and they're like a pissed off, kind of desperate, not underdog, but a team that's struggling, and that the short week actually might help Baltimore there. All right, so you want to give an official pick on this interesting handicapping situation, or do you want to pass for the purpose of our regular
I will give an official pick on Baltimore, and you're correct, especially in the NFL. The odds makers aren't wrong all that often in using their knowledge against them. Look, Baltimore is truly an underachieving team. The 3 losses were by a combined 14 points. They're not, as the odds makers are telling us, they're not as bad as their straight-up record states, and I've always said straight up record the most deceptive statistic when handicapping spreads. So yeah, I will make an official pick on the road favorite.
There you go. That's why Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com is the best in the business, giving us a free play on Baltimore. Currently -2.5 is the market line. And Joe Duffy, for anyone who wants to know more, wants to get your your premium picks every week and every day, tell us what that's all about. Offshoreinsiders.com.
Well, as we file this report, Monday night is pending, but 27-14 NFL run off another big weekend again with Monday night pending. 5-2 in the NFL this week. What a great year it's been going back to the preseason. Don't have the plays up for this week as we file this report, but got a lot of check marks working on it. Visit offshoreinsiders.com for all the details.
Okay, thanks so much, Joe.